It was the 3rd year of our marriage when Ethan brought his first love to our family gathering. "Chloe moved out and has nowhere to live," he said. "She can stay at our place for now." I nodded. "Then I'll move out." Ethan immediately overturned a full spread of dishes, watching indifferently as I was cut by shards of porcelain. He called me overdramatic and attention-seeking. Then he left, embracing his first love who was scared and clinging to him. I broke the pregnancy test that showed 2 lines. I used to think that if I got pregnant, I would keep the pregnancy test to give him a surprise, but now I didn't want to anymore. When brought Chloe home, I was wrapped in a blanket, drinking hot herbal tea to ward off the cold. He had said he would pick me up, but he left me in the cold wind and heavy rain and went to pick up Chloe instead. Ethan looked at me with a frown. "Who are you putting on this shameful display for?" All the relatives in the living room stared at me, silently watching me make a fool of myself. Before, I always anxiously explained myself to him, crying and accusing him, but now I didn't care anymore. I couldn't even be bothered to say a single word to him, but my eyes still couldn't help but sting with tears. Ethan noticed my quiet demeanor, his gaze lingering on my reddened eyes. Chloe tugged on Ethan's sleeve. "Ethan, don't be so mean." Ethan shifted his gaze, smiling at her. "It's my fault. You're so timid, I shouldn't have raised my voice." Then he yelled at me, "Aren't you going to change and eat?" At the dinner table, Chloe spit out the spicy sausage and vegetable stew she'd tasted. "What is this? It's so disgusting and awful." Ethan wiped her mouth, threw the napkin on the table, and said disdainfully, "It must be Audrey's cooking. Her food is always disgusting and awful." The sausage and vegetable stew was indeed my cooking. That entire full spread of dishes was made by me alone. Spicy sausage and vegetable stew was Ethan's favorite dish. He always pestered me to make it for him. Ethan looked at me with disgust. "How can someone be as stupid as you? You went out of your way to learn how to cook and still make it taste this bad?" I didn't say a word, but the food in my mouth wouldn't go down. "Chloe moved out and has nowhere to live. She can stay at our place for now." I thought that no matter how much Ethan and Chloe carried on, he would never bring her into our home. Who knew he actually intended for Chloe to become a permanent fixture? My heart turned cold, and swallowing the bitterness in my heart, I nodded. "Then I'll move out." Ethan immediately frowned, threw down the dishes and silverware, and overturned the full spread of dishes. I fell to the floor, scalding hot soup pouring all over me. I writhed in pain and was cut by broken porcelain bowls. Burned and bleeding, the pain made me cry out. Ethan looked at me with a frown, his hand halfway extended. Chloe clung to him in fear. "Ethan, she's crying so loudly, I'm so scared." Ethan immediately looked at me with disgust. "You're crying like that over such a small injury? Audrey, why are you so overdramatic and attention-seeking? It's all because of you. You ruined our perfectly fine gathering like this. How can a woman be as stupid as you?" Ethan ignored my injuries, embracing Chloe as he left. I lay on the floor amidst the food and sauce mess. The relatives in the house circled around me, staring like I was a monkey in a zoo, their eyes filled with disdain and contempt. "Audrey, why would Ethan bring a strange woman home? Did you upset him in some way? How can you not even keep a man? Ethan is not a bad person. You must have done something wrong." They just stood there, accusing me. Not a single person offered to send me to the hospital, or even lend a hand to help me up. Trembling, I forced myself to endure the pain and left the house. Ethan didn't come home and didn't message me. It wasn't until a week later that he sent me a location pin. Humiliation at the bar. Location pin was for a bar. I pushed open the private room door. Ethan was singing, with Chloe in his arms. Chloe saw me and tried to pull away from Ethan's embrace, but Ethan held her even tighter. "Ethan, let me go. This isn't right." Ethan smiled, looking at me. "What's not right about it? I told her long ago that I would never love her. She was the one who shamelessly threw herself at me. Chloe, you know I only love you." I thought I wouldn't be hurt by Ethan's words anymore, but he became increasingly outrageous, not even sparing my reputation in front of Chloe. I used to think I could melt his heart. Chloe shyly hid her face in Ethan's chest, then quickly looked at Ethan with a pitiful gaze. As if remembering something, Ethan yelled at me, "Why are you just standing there like an idiot? Come over and apologize to Chloe. Chloe hasn't been sleeping well because of you. You don't even realize you're scaring the guests. How can a woman be as stupid as you?" So, he only wanted me to come here to apologize to Chloe. All the worry I'd felt for him these past few days instantly turned into a wave of indignation that swept over me. I stood stiff-necked, refusing to back down. Ethan glared at me angrily. "Audrey, you know the consequences of making me angry." Every time I made Ethan angry, he would start ghosting me. Depending on the severity of his anger, sometimes it was a week, sometimes a month. I couldn't stand his silent treatment, so each time I would humbly beg him to come home. But this time I wouldn't back down. Ethan was a bit surprised by my attitude. Chloe took Ethan's hand. "Ethan, let it go. I'm fine." Ethan's expression softened as he looked at Chloe. "Chloe, you're just too kind. Audrey, you really should learn from Chloe. I don't know how a woman can be as inconsiderate as you." Several unsavory types walked into the private room. Chloe said in a sweet voice to Ethan, "Ethan, these are my friends. Can you ask Audrey why to entertain them for me?" Their eyes looked at me with a lewd and disgusting gaze. I looked at Ethan in fear. "No, don't push me to them." Chloe shook Ethan's arm. "Please?" "Fine." Ethan looked at me with disgust. "Audrey, this is your chance to make amends. Take good care of Chloe's friends, and I'll forgive you." No one cared about my wishes. As soon as Ethan finished speaking, Chloe's friends pulled me into their embrace, and several hands instantly groped my thigh, while Ethan watched coldly from the sidelines. My stomach churned. I abruptly stood up, ran out of the private room, and started vomiting in the restroom. These past few days, I had been feeling nauseous. My period was long overdue. Could it be? A suspicion vaguely formed in my mind, but my heart was filled with only bitterness. I walked out of the restroom and found Ethan standing outside. Heartbreaking, he had arrived at some point. A flicker of worry was in his eyes, but when he saw that I was all right, his expression turned angry again. "Why did you suddenly run out? You don't even understand basic manners. You're absolutely stupid." "That's right." Ethan didn't expect me to talk back and was stunned. "What?" The cold tap water seemed to sober me up completely. I looked at Ethan. "That's right, I'm just a stupid woman." It was because I was stupid that he could manipulate and insult me repeatedly. I didn't want to deal with Ethan anymore. I walked past him and headed outside. Ethan frantically grabbed my arm. He didn't know why he grabbed me. He sensed something had changed, but he couldn't pinpoint what it was. His voice was still impatient. "Where are you going? Audrey, what kind of tantrum are you throwing again? How can a woman be as overdramatic as you?" I shook off his hand. It was the first time I had ever done so, and Ethan looked incredulous. He softened his tone for the first time. "It's hard to get a cab right now. I'll drive you back." I didn't refuse, I just wanted to leave there quickly. It had only been a week since I last rode in Ethan's car, but its car interior had already been completely revamped, filled with a suffocating perfume smell. Before, I had begged Ethan to take down the rearview mirror charm Chloe had hung, but Ethan ignored me completely. Now, he had taken it down before I even asked. I pulled open the back car door, but Ethan stopped me. "What are you doing sitting in the back?" I laughed. "If I sit in the front, won't Chloe get angry?" Ethan didn't say anything. I stopped laughing and sat in the back. As I entered the house and took off my shoes, Chloe called. "Ethan, where did you go? I'm scared when you're not here." Ethan looked at me. Before, when Chloe called him, he would never pay attention to me. This was the first time he had. If it were the old me, I would have been happy, but now I didn't care at all. I smiled. "Go find your first love. Isn't she scared?" Ethan looked at me, hesitated, then left. I came out of the restroom, staring blankly at the 2 lines on the pregnancy test. I used to really look forward to having Ethan's child. I loved Ethan, and I also hoped to tie him down with a child. But now I had no more expectations for Ethan, and this child shouldn't be born. I broke the pregnancy test. I used to think that if I got pregnant, I would keep the pregnancy test to give him a surprise, but now I didn't want to anymore. I held my stomach. I had never imagined meeting it under these circumstances, and a wave of sorrow washed over me. Afraid the pregnancy test was inaccurate, I went straight to the hospital the next day. Unexpectedly, I ran into Ethan and Chloe at the hospital. Hospital confrontation. Ethan was holding a pile of things, all belonging to Chloe, while Chloe clung to him as if she had no bones. I remembered how I had come to the hospital alone to treat my wounds after the family gathering. No one helped me. I had to endure the pain and run around to register at the front desk myself. A pang of bitterness rose in my heart again. Ethan frowned at me. "Audrey, are you ever going to stop bothering us? Are you stalking us to the hospital?" I looked at him expressionlessly. Can only she get sick, and I can't? Before, I always protected Ethan's reputation and never talked back to him. Ethan looked at me as if I were a stranger, realizing he had never truly known me. "Oh, Ethan, I'm so dizzy. Can you help me sit over there?" Ethan was distracted by Chloe. He bent down to soothe her. "I'll help you over." I couldn't be bothered to spare them another glance. GYN department. After going through all the procedures, the doctor said, "You are indeed pregnant." There was no joy on my face, only bitterness. "I'd like to schedule an abortion." GYN department. I unexpectedly ran into Ethan in the hallway. A flicker of panic crossed my eyes, but then I mocked myself internally. Ethan's heart belongs to Chloe, he wouldn't care if I was pregnant or not. However, Ethan grabbed my hand and asked nervously, "GYN department?" As if a possibility dawned on him, a glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes. "Are you pregnant?" I didn't speak, but his eyes brightened even more. Looking at his eyes, a wave of irritation surged within me. He clearly didn't love me. What was he trying to do, showing such an expression now? I shook off his hand and sneered, "Pregnant? You're having a secret affair with Chloe. I'm just afraid I might have caught some venereal disease from you." Ethan frowned, interrupting me frantically. "Audrey, are you crazy? What are you talking nonsense about?" He frantically looked at the passers-by, without even sparing me a glance. I laughed. From beginning to end, he never cared about me. He only cared about his own pride. I grabbed my lab results, bumped into Ethan's shoulder. GYN department. "Audrey." It was Chloe calling me. I looked at her, wondering what she wanted. Chloe provocatively scrutinized me. "I always said Ethan wouldn't like you. A woman like you, Dari. Trying to compete with me is just humiliating yourself. I advise you to divorce Ethan soon, or else." I actually intended to divorce Ethan, but seeing Chloe's smug look, I just wanted to make her sick during this final period. Or else what? I'm Ethan's wife, protected by law. As long as we're not divorced, you're just a secret other woman. You. Chloe was enraged and made a move to hit me. She seemed to lose her footing and was about to fall down the stairs. I instinctively reached out to grab her, but then she smirked and pushed me with her other hand. I tumbled down the stairs. The stairs were long and steep. My stomach kept hitting the steps, and when I reached the bottom, a searing pain shot through my lower abdomen. "Chloe." Ethan ran over, checking on Chloe, and asked worriedly, "Are you all right?" Chloe shook her head, frightened and delicate, shrinking into Ethan's arms. "Ethan, I'm so scared." Ethan looked at me furiously. "Audrey, I didn't realize you were so malicious. How could you not stand Chloe?" I was in too much pain to speak, and cold sweat beaded on my forehead. The baby. At that moment, I realized I wasn't ready to terminate the pregnancy. My heart still wanted to keep this child. Terror seized my entire body. I pleaded weakly with Ethan, "Get a doctor for me, please." Ethan looked at me in that state, a flicker of worry in his eyes. Chloe grabbed Ethan's clothes in fear. "Ethan." Ethan withdrew his concern for me and said coldly, "A malicious woman like you deserves to fall. Stay here and reflect." He embraced Chloe and left, not even looking back at me once. When the doctor found me, there was a pool of blood on the floor. The doctor told me I had a miscarriage. The baby was gone, and my last shred of hope for Ethan vanished. His indifferent face seemed etched in my mind. I didn't want to deal with them anymore. I wanted a divorce. Who knew that when I wanted a divorce, Ethan wasn't willing? Deciding on divorce, I looked at the house where I lived for 2 years. I used to think it was our home, Ethan's and mine, but now I realized it was terribly cold. Mine was covered in dust. For 2 years, I had never left here. When didn't come home, I would naively wait here for him. Now it was finally my turn to leave, and I felt a sense of ease I'd never felt before. Ethan had returned at some point. I thought he would, as usual, stay with Chloe. Ethan looked at the suitcase I was dragging, a bit uneasy. "Where are you going?" I looked at him expressionlessly. "Ethan, let's get a divorce." He used to always threaten me with divorce, so Ethan thought I was just using divorce to manipulate him. He frowned in annoyance. "Audrey, why are you making a scene?" I didn't want to waste words with him. "I'll get the divorce papers to you as soon as possible." Ethan became anxious and grabbed my arm. "Was it just because I didn't get a doctor for you? Are you still angry about that? You're standing here just fine, but Chloe was so scared by you that she doesn't even want to eat. How do you still have the nerve to throw a tantrum?" I shook off his hand in disgust. "Whether I'm throwing a tantrum or not, you'll find out soon enough." I had always been the one to comfort Ethan, he rarely comforted me. With me giving him the cold shoulder, he lost his patience. "Fine, you want a divorce? You got it." I nodded, not expecting him to beg me to stay. This was, in fact, the best outcome. Ethan saw me leave without looking back and urgently called out, "Don't come crying back to me later." I slammed the door shut. Ethan thought I was just saying it, that I loved him so much and was only using divorce as a tactic to pressure him, believing I was using a reverse psychology strategy. Until I found a lawyer, and the prepared divorce papers were delivered to Ethan. Ethan called me. Audrey, are you really going to divorce me? I've already signed. I hope you can be as decisive. Ethan didn't believe I truly wanted a divorce. Audrey, what kind of tantrum are you throwing? He had misunderstood me countless times like this. Now, hearing him say it again, I felt only calm. If you don't sign, I'll have to file for divorce. Ethan didn't expect me to be so resolute this time. He didn't like what I was saying, so he simply hung up the phone. Ethan's social media updates began to flourish. He and Chloe changed their couple profile pictures, and his social media background was directly updated with intimate photos of them. Chloe shamelessly moved into my marital home with Ethan. She hired people to demolish entirely my original interior design, and the walls were repainted to her preferred colors. Traces of my life were gradually erased. Chloe sat in Ethan's arms, but Ethan was intently staring at his phone, while I hadn't sent him a single message. Ethan started drinking heavily at the bar. When he got drunk, he would call me, but I didn't answer any of them. Until his friend called. Audrey, Ethan is drinking too much. If you don't come, he's going to get alcohol poisoning. Chloe isn't there? Ethan didn't tell Chloe that he was out drinking with us. Oh, Audrey, he keeps calling your name. It's no use if Chloe comes. Audrey, please hurry. I suddenly found it a bit ridiculous. Before, when Ethan stayed out all night drinking at the bar, I would foolishly stare at my phone, hoping he would call me, but he never did, not once. Now that I wasn't bothering him anymore, he came looking for me. But I still grabbed my bag and took a cab to the bar. Confrontation at the bar. Audrey, you're finally here. Ethan's friends looked at me as if I were a savior. Audrey. Ethan looked at me with hazy eyes, his voice soft and lingering, as if he missed me deeply. I looked at him coldly, pulled the divorce papers from my bag, and threw them in front of him. Sign them. Let's not waste each other's time. It had been a long time since I sent the divorce papers to Ethan, but he had never sent the documents back. Oh me. I just wanted to divorce him quickly. I didn't want to be involved with him anymore. Seeing how resolute I was, Ethan's eyes reddened instantly. Audrey, how can you be so heartless? I laughed. The truly heartless one was him, not me. How many chances had I given him? But each time, I only received more disrespect from him. As if remembering something, Ethan looked at me expectantly. Are you mad at me for letting Chloe stay at our place? Seeing that I didn't speak, he thought he had guessed correctly, believing I still had feelings for him. He put on that arrogant smirk again. Audrey, why are you so petty? I told you before that Chloe would be staying at our place. She's a young woman, and she has no family here. She only knows me. Can't you show me some understanding and be more generous? I looked at him expressionlessly. Are you done talking? If so, sign the papers. My attitude was too firm. A trace of panic flashed in Ethan's eyes. Audrey, are you really going to divorce me? The room door was pushed open, and Chloe stormed in. Audrey, how can you be so shameless, daring to secretly seduce Ethan? She rushed over, ready to slap me. I grabbed her hand and slapped her back. Chloe froze, clutching her face. She hadn't expected me to dare hit her in front of Ethan. Ethan saw me hit Chloe. He didn't even realize it himself, but his face showed not only pity for Chloe but also a hint of satisfaction. Audrey, you're crazy. Don't make a scene here. Ethan stood up and shielded Chloe. Chloe only moved into our house because she couldn't find anywhere else to live. It's too much for you to hit her over such a trifling matter. Ethan still believed I wasn't serious about wanting a divorce. I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. Ethan was stunned. He sobered up instantly. Before, if he even scraped his knee, I would worry about him for a long time. Now, hitting him myself would surely make him come to his senses. I said in a cold voice, Han, don't you claim you don't love me? What's the deal with not signing the divorce papers all this time? Don't make me lose respect for you. Hearing me say that, Ethan immediately grabbed the divorce papers and said angrily, fine, I'll sign them. Audrey, you'd better not come crying and beg me to get back together. I took the divorce papers and smiled genuinely. You two are so well suited. How could I bear to break you two up? Wishing you a long and happy life together, forever. Don't harm anyone else. Ethan looked at my serious expression, a panic in his eyes he had never shown before. I'll take you home. Ethan was eager to keep me from leaving, almost blurting it out. Everyone in the private room looked at him in astonishment. Between me and Chloe, his choice was always Chloe, yet now he was ignoring Chloe next to him and saying he would take me home. The special preference I had never received, despite my utmost efforts, even laying my heart bare for him, he now offered as I was leaving. It was truly ridiculous. Ethan. Chloe shot me a venomous look and innocently tugged at Ethan's sleeve. I was sick of her tricks and said, amused, no need. Miss Chloe seems to need your attention more. I knew the divorce was finally settled, and I felt a lightness I had never known. My life with Ethan was completely severed, and I focused my energy on work. I was once known as the most inspired painter of my generation, but after marrying Ethan, I was tormented by him, becoming hysterical, and my paintings grew dark and somber. Back then, to be with Ethan, I gave up many opportunities for exchange, but now I had no more obstacles. I accepted an invitation to a top academic exchange conference in Europe and traveled there. My paintbrush regained its vitality. The next news I received from Ethan was about his engagement to Chloe. They decided to hold their engagement ceremony on a beautiful island getaway. I looked at the picturesque island getaway in the photos and gave a self-deprecating smile. This was the island getaway where I had told Ethan I wanted to get married, but refused to go abroad, citing work, so we just found a riverside location and completed our wedding ceremony. Ethan had said, "What's the difference between the riverside and the seaside? It's all water anyway. Just get it done with." Ethan marrying me wasn't because I forced him. At that time, Chloe had dumped him and gone abroad. He messaged me to come out and keep him company. In the stormy weather, we huddled in the car, hugging for warmth. Ethan kissed me, and everything spiraled out of control from there. Ethan said he would marry me, his tone arrogant, like he was bestowing a favor. I was blinded by this unexpected proposal and blindly jumped into this trap. "What are you looking at, Audrey?" A head popped up beside my ear, Leo's hair tickling me. I shifted my upper body and accused him, "I'm not your older sister. You're clearly older than me." Leo pinched my fleshy cheek, smiling. "Then call me brother, let me hear it." I pulled Leo's hand away. "Dream on. Don't push your luck." Leo was a colleague I met at the exchange conference. He was very enthusiastic towards me. Without his help, I wouldn't have been able to settle down here. "You want to go to this island getaway?" Leo saw the island getaway in the photo. I shook my head. If and Chloe weren't getting engaged on that island getaway, I would have wanted to go, but now I only felt disgust towards it. "I want to go to the desert and chase the sun." Leo nodded, smiling at me. "You're so romantic, Audrey." He wore a white shirt, his smile bright and cheerful, like a sun that could illuminate gloom. I looked away. Honestly, how could someone be so annoying? Late at night, my phone rang incessantly. I picked it up impatiently. Ethan's relative's voice came through the phone. "Audrey, why aren't you keeping Ethan in line? That other woman he brought home from outside is too infuriating." She almost blew up the kitchen trying to cook. I interrupted the person on the other end. "Ethan and I are no longer together. If you have anything, you can contact him directly." Without waiting for a reply, I hung up the phone and blocked Ethan and anyone associated with him with a single tap. After doing that, most of the anger from being woken up dissipated. I got up and poured myself a glass of water. Ethan's family business was very large, and his relatives had always been arrogant, always ordering me around without any gratitude. Now, their venting their grievances to me just struck me as funny. I had blocked Ethan, but I didn't expect him to find me by using a different phone. Old lingering phone showed an unknown number. At first, I thought it was a scam call and ignored it. But then the calls from that number came in one after another. So insistent, as if it would keep ringing if I didn't answer. I answered the phone. Ethan's voice came through the phone, hoarse and filled with immense pain. "You were pregnant back then?" I was a bit surprised, remembering the hospital lab results I'd forgotten to throw away. I remained silent, not knowing what to say, and feeling there was nothing left to say. Seeing my silence, Ethan became even more pained. "Audrey, you must have been in so much pain back then. It's all in the past." I hung up the phone, not wanting to bring up those matters again. Later, I heard that Ethan had kicked Chloe out and ruined Chloe's family company. He also warned companies in Coastal City not to hire anyone connected to Chloe. Chloe turned around and begged Ethan on her knees, saying she was pregnant with his child. Ethan, hearing this news, flew into a rage and ordered doctors to terminate her pregnancy. She still wouldn't give up and went to find Ethan, hoping he would feel pity for her weak face. But, with a cold expression, pushed her down and had her thrown into the arms of her shady acquaintances. Overnight, Chloe lost the capital she relied on. Everyone she had crossed before came to kick her while she was down. Her life underwent drastic changes, and she couldn't handle the contrast. She had started to lose her mind a bit. Ethan called me, happy like a child seeking praise. "Audrey, are you happy with how I treated her? If you're still not satisfied, how about I have her uterus removed? It was late at night, and listening to him gave me shivers of disgust. I immediately hung up the phone. I thought Ethan would stop, but the next day, the receptionist at my studio called out to me. Boss, someone sent you a bouquet of roses. The card said, yours, Ethan. Hearing that signature, I felt goosebumps all over my body, and I also found it ridiculous. Ethan didn't even know I had pollen allergies. How did he have the nerve to say he loved me? Please dispose of them for me. I have pollen allergies. The next day, Ethan called me. Audrey, I waited all night at the restaurant yesterday. Why didn't you come? Ethan had invited me to dinner on that card. I sneered. Just because you invite me, does that mean I have to go? Countless days and nights, I had waited expectantly at our meeting spots for Ethan, but he never showed up, not once. Ethan tried to make excuses for me. Then why didn't you call me? Was your phone dead? Or were you busy with work? It's okay, we can reschedule. Whenever you're free, we can. I laughed, interrupting him. It's not for any reason, Ethan. I simply don't want to have dinner with you, and I don't want any contact with you. Ethan fell silent, his voice low. He muttered to himself, you're joking. I didn't want to deal with him and simply hung up the phone. The next day, as I left my studio, I found Ethan waiting for me. He stood under the street lamp, the light falling on his broad shoulders. I remembered the first day I saw him. He was tossing a basketball in the sunset. The ball thumped into the hoop, and at the same time, it hit my heart. He was as handsome as ever. Tim. He had not diminished his arrogance but had instead added a mature charm to him. But I realized my heart no longer pounded fiercely for him as it once did. I realized I truly no longer loved him. Ethan, as if surprised, extended a bouquet of flowers to me, smiling ingratiatingly. Want to grab dinner? I quickly covered my mouth and nose, asking him in a flat voice, Ethan, you don't know I have pollen allergies, do you? What? Ethan clearly didn't know. He quickly threw the flowers away. I didn't know, Audrey, I interrupted him. Ethan, you don't really love me. Just leave. Ethan said urgently, no, I love you. Leo. I ignored him, walking past him and waving to Leo in the distance. Ethan quickly grabbed my hand, his face panicked. Audrey, who is he? He gripped me tightly, his strength so great from fear of losing me that my hand turned red. I grimaced in pain. Let go of me. Ethan wouldn't let go. Leo strode over and punched Ethan squarely in the face. Ethan, who had trained in boxing, turned his head to spit out blood and raised his hand to retaliate against Leo. The two of them thus wrestled together, with brutal force, hard-hitting blows. Stop it. I struggled to pull them apart, checking Leo's face. Seeing his injuries, I couldn't help but feel a pang of worry. Are you all right? Leo's eyes were solely on me, his ears reddening. I'm fine. Audrey? Ethan's voice was terribly bitter. Seeing how much I cared for Leo, his eyes were filled with only pain. Why aren't you coming to check on me? I looked at him coldly. Ethan, I'm divorced from you. Who I care about has nothing to do with you. Then who does it have to do with? Ethan grew agitated. Him? Who does he think he is? Watching his unhinged behavior, it was like seeing my past self. I could better understand that Ethan truly didn't like me back then, but now I had someone I liked. He's my boyfriend. Isn't it normal for me to care about him? A few days ago, I had accepted Leo's conveys. We kissed under fireworks and watched the sunrise together on the mountain. I was certain that Ethan no longer held a place in my heart. Ethan's eyes were bloodshot. Boyfriend? Audrey, how could you do this to me? My mind was on treating Leo's wounds. I wasn't in the mood to argue with him anymore. I looked at him coldly. I hope you won't bother me again. What I didn't expect was that despite my harsh words, Ethan still came looking for me. Letting Ethan disappeared for a few days. When he reappeared before me, he was terribly thin, and exhaustion practically oozed from him. When he saw me, he smiled, pretending that nothing had happened that night, as if I hadn't told him Leo was my boyfriend, nor asked him not to bother me again. He waited downstairs at my studio every day, come rain or shine. Though I mostly ignored him, only occasionally telling him to leave during heavy rain, he would be happy for a long time just for those few words I spoke. Leo's resentment towards him grew, and he came to pick me up from work almost every day. Ethan watched Leo repeatedly walk past him with his arm around my waist, the light in his eyes dimming with each passing moment. He sought me out, desperately pleading, Audrey, can't you just look at me? I'd even be your lover. The arrogant Ethan, heir to the family fortune, was actually begging to be my secret lover. Ethan had truly humbled himself beyond recognition. But all I felt was disgust. Ethan, not everyone is like you. I love Leo, and I could never do anything to hurt him. But you used to love me so much, he pleaded. How can you just stop loving me like that? Ethan grabbed my hand, desperately saying, Audrey, you must still love me. Even if it's not love, there must still be some affection. Break up with him, and let's get back together, okay? This time, I'll be good to you. We can find our old love again. I pulled my hand away from his, looking him straight in the eyes. I truly don't love you anymore. There isn't even a tiny spark of affection left. And I'm not going to break up with Leo for you. Ethan, there's no future for us. It's time to move on. Ethan looked into my eyes, devoid of any love, realizing I truly didn't have even a hint of affection for him. He instantly became like a withered tree, drained of all life. Ethan then left Europe. He returned to our marital home, desperately searching for our past memories, but Chloe had completely redecorated it, erasing every trace of me. He found nothing there, except for the lab results I had left behind. He spent his days sitting listlessly in the living room, staring blankly at those lab results. Later, he began to self-harm. He sought every way to experience the pain I had once endured, trying to empathize with my past pain. He became obsessively drawn to this feeling. Each bout of pain brought him fleeting moments of joy, until he received the news of Leo and my marriage. I had once told Leo the first wanted to chase the sun in the desert, and he never forgot. He proposed to me at sunset, and I accepted. Our wedding was held on a quaint and charming island getaway. With by my side, I no longer seemed to resist the idea of an island, so I followed my heart and got married there. Ethan appeared in the bridal suite somehow. He was emaciated beyond recognition, his hair falling over his eyes, and he pleaded with me, anguish in his voice, Audrey, please, don't marry him. I turned, and then I saw the knife in his hand. Leo rushed in just in time to shield me. Security guards burst through the door, pinning Ethan down. Seeing me walk away, Ethan plunged the knife into his own heart, crying out, Audrey, please don't leave me. He gambled that I would turn back, if only out of humanity. But I didn't. Ethan fell into a vegetative state, unable to attempt suicide again, condemned to a lifetime of suffering. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your Friday friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories. See you next time.